Emperor's tanks are very difficult to break without either losing a lot of units yourself or going dropships or something like that. Since he doesn't have any dropships, he has to figure out a way to break the containment without losing those tanks. The thing is, by the time your tanks siege, they're going to take 2 hits. So by throwing these SCVs out in the front, he's going to siege a couple of the back ones, and he's going to just leave the other ones unsieged. No, it looks like he's going to siege all but one. And that one can do some attacking as well. And then the unsieged siege tank is going to attack a lot quicker than the sieged ones. So he's doing more damage to other units. So he may have been taking out SCVs or something like that. And looks like he did get the 3rd expansion up and running. It just got scouted by Red, so Red knows this is happening. But by breaking that contain, he's now got the advantage. His 3rd and 4th factories are going down now. So actually, he's going for 3rd, 4th, and 5th factories. And he's probably going to have all of those hotkeys. He's probably going to hotkey every single one of those factories. And you can tell generally by when he's setting his rally points, because you'll see that he'll just cycle through them and keep right-clicking out to change his rallies. You don't want to have to click back and forth on your buildings to change his rallies. I'll mention this when I see him doing it, but this is something that most people generally do that are on that level. So UpMagic probably going to start pushing it now. Looks like he's going to start getting some dropships as he gets the control tower attachment for the starport. And now with the amount of tanks he has, he's able to break the smaller tank contain that the other player had, which it wasn't too hard to break. He actually didn't lose anything in the process, amazingly. He may have lost something. I didn't notice it, though. So now UpMagic and the Random Korean are tied at 2 expansions each. I don't know if but one of UpMagic's obviously is mining as he lost it. I don't know if Red took that one over or not, or just left and went somewhere else. It's hard to say right now. UpMagic, for some reason, not opting to get scanned. You generally want to get it by this point because he's pretty much in mid-game, and scan is pretty important at this point. You need to know what your opponent is going. And there you see the reaction time of a pro. Before those dropships even got to his minerals and started dropping, he already spotted them. He already saw them, and he's already prepared to get his units back and start getting them there to defend it better. Dropship coming out for UpMagic too, so he's going to be able to defend this fairly easily, sending SCVs to each tank, so they're just basically blowing themselves up in the process of trying to defend against the attack, which is usually the way you want to do it. And UpMagic having a little bit of trouble trying to land that command center without getting hit by some sort of Goliath or tank or whatever. Excuse me, just drinking some water. This is going to be a tough one on my voice, I think. Let's see how this goes. So those SCVs are getting transported to the other expansion that we just dropped out, but he's going to take care of that Goliath too with a few tanks, so he doesn't lose too many SCVs, and that won't be an issue. So those starports were lifted so he can get his units back there clearly, because otherwise they'd get bunched up. As soon as the tank would get in range, it would start firing, which would bunch up all the units behind him, which wouldn't be able to hit the enemy units because they wouldn't have the same range, even if there were other tanks, unless they were siege. So generally, by lifting, you can get more range. And there we go. The commentator said something, and UpMagic realized that he still didn't have his academy. He probably forgot to build it or whatever, and so now he's getting it. And man, that line of tanks just destroying Mr. Random Korean Kid. And now we're going to see how mines work against metal, or maybe not. Generally, yep, there they go. He is dropping down some spider mines, so you're going to see how efficient spider mines can be against metal. They can be ridiculously effective against tanks if you plan them while attacking, especially if they're trying to run away and you plan to pass them in bunches. Forget it. They get ripped apart. The splash does full damage to them, and they can't do much of anything against it. So he's getting attacked from the cliff, but at the same time he's got so many tanks and he's got a lot of factories. He's actually going to climb up to 7 now. He's getting down 6 and 7. And see how he drops? He sees a dropship ahead of time, and he actually unsieges everything before any pseudo zealot bomb can go off. I don't know what was in the dropship. It could have been SCVs or something like that. But he's not going to let himself blow himself up. So that was, that's very quick play by a pro. I mean, to actually react that quickly is definitely difficult to do. I mean, if you've ever been dropped on, you know exactly how difficult it is to react to it. Half the times, half your minors are gone because you don't notice it until it says you're under attack, and by that time it's too late. And the reason that these guys see it so quickly is because, I think I said it in the last one, every few seconds, maybe 3 seconds or so, he's generally looking in the bottom left corner. And the bottom left corner is the minimap. So you want to play your game by the minimap because that's where all the action that you can see is detailed. And you see how he's teal and the other player is red? By pressing, I think, Shift-Tab twice, you change your color to teal and their color to red. So anytime he sees even a blip of red on his screen, he basically knows who it is, where it's coming from, where it's going, and as long as he's looking there often enough, he's going to get it. So now he's going to just push in, and he's got way too many units. Red's going to have to GG, but it looks like he might just be a little bit stubborn in doing so for whatever reason. UpMagic could basically lose his entire base and still win because of the amount of units that he has out in the field in the enemy's base that the enemy can't contend with. His factories are fully compromised, and there's just nothing he can do. So UpMagic going to do some scouting now. He scans and sees the expansion, and now the player decides to GG. So yeah, not too much that the other player can do. And UpMagic winning his first game. There you go. Alright, so now we get a little bit of a break between the next game. And instead of cutting to it, you can cut to it if you want, but what I'm going to do is just do a little more explanation, a little more history of Battle.net Attack, the series. After each game, they kind of interview and they talk with the kid a little bit, and they just go over their game. I have no idea what they're saying because I don't speak Korean, but I'm sure it's interesting. Pros have lost on Battle.net games. I've seen Stork lose, and he was playing Protoss too. He was like a PVZ game. He tried to rush another Zerg player, and the Zerg player, he just massed the Lings, and he destroyed Stork. Stork went goons, like 1-gate goons while he was doing this harassment, and he just got owned. It was actually pretty sad. And then the pros are always embarrassed, but they take it with they're pretty they don't care too much about it. It doesn't affect them that much, but they show some embarrassment from it. And sometimes you get pros who only do strict strategies and they only play their only race basically. Well, no, everyone I've seen, they've always tried different races, and that's generally when they lose. But the best is when you see pros who do other races, or they do risky strategies with their own races, like a bio build in a TVP, or actually Firebat Hero was probably the most entertaining first-person VOD that I've seen so far for Battle.net Attack. If you haven't seen it, just search for it using Battle.net Attack FBH, and you'll find the Firebat Hero ones. And he's actually probably the most outspoken person that I've seen on it yet. And he's hilarious, apparently. If you read all the comments, there's some people who understand Korean, they do some translations and stuff, and he does like a 5-bunker rush, and he goes, yes, this strategy is very good. And then he confesses that he's never actually tried it before. And, the hosts, they love talking to the players, but a lot of times the players start getting heavy into the concentration. Firebat Hero, actually, the whole time is talking to him. He's explaining what he's doing. He makes one Marine, he sends the Marine in to attack against 7 goons, and they'll be like, why did you do that? And he goes, because the Pro Marine is a lot more powerful than any amount of Dragoons, and he sends it in, and then it gets destroyed, and everybody laughs and stuff, and they have a good time. But I haven't seen too many other pros get too risky with their strategies. Sometimes they do, and that's just, everybody hates Firebat Hero, but that's why I like him. I mean, because he's wacky, man. It's very entertaining to watch. But, so yeah, even if you hate him, check it out, and you'll see that he's not such a bad dude, even though he danced in front of Saber. Check him out, and let me know what you think if you feel like leaving comments, even if you watch it a week later. I'll still check back. So anyway, now we got UpMagic, and look what he is. He's Protoss, and this is when you see some interesting stuff. You always wonder, the pros, they're so good. Are they as good with other races? Obviously, they need to know the other races. They need to know all the strategies, ins and outs, if they're going to counter against it with their own race, right? With their race of choice. So in his case, Terran. So he's got to know how it plays. But sometimes they play races that aren't theirs, like a PVZ. So right now, if he were to play PVZ, he's not quite as experienced in a PVZ as he would be with a PVT or a TVZ or whatever. Obviously, TV anything he's got the most experience in, but a PVT he's going to have a lot more experience in because that's generally what he's got to fight counters against, not PVZ. That doesn't make sense. But you got to realize that these guys play 60 hours a week, so I can almost guarantee that at some point he plays PVZ. Probably, everybody's got a worse matchup, and it's just likely that particular matchup is his worst. Similarly, a ZVP may be his worst matchup, and mirror matches as well, like PvP and ZVZ. So we'll see what happens here, though. I mean, I don't even know what race he's playing yet. It's on. They play a lot on Python. I've seen them play other maps on Battle.net Attack. They've played Blue Storm. They've played. That's the only one I can think of. Blue Storm and Python. But Python by far is the most popular map. Well, what it is since they're joining other people's games, obviously Python is one of the most popular maps in Korean play, so that's just how it is. So now he's got the tables turned. He's doing a PVT, and he knows he's probably going to have